Hey everybody, welcome to the T Logan. Today's title is called What is Church? Alright, first I want to say happy Sabbath. Alright, it's a great day outside. The sun is shining, the sky. We're out here in nature. You know, it's good to be able to get out. Okay, so somebody says, what do you do? Okay, first off, I want to say on the Sabbath. Alright, and yes, there is a such thing as having yourself together during the Sabbath. Now, during the week, I can look burnt out, beat up, because why? I'm outside in the garden. So today is a special day, right? Mark 2:27 says the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. So it is a time and place to look the part, okay? And I think that today is the day that I should look the best for God and to because it's the Sabbath, because it's special. So listen, you say, well, what are you doing? We're in nature. What do you do on the Sabbath? What is one thing that you like to do? Well, we like to go out in the park. We like to stay in nature. Why? Because there's less distraction. Look how quiet it is. Quiet, peaceful. The sun is out, right? It's just, you can breathe in, breathe out. You know, I'm always telling you guys this. Take the time out to breathe in and breathe out, right? So you asked me, what is church? Let me say something. Okay, church, you are the church. That doesn't give you an exemption from not attending a church per se. But church is wherever you go. I say that because the example. Sometimes we can put so much effort and energy into what it is that we're doing when we go to church. Oh, I did this in church and I did that. But church is wherever you go. So a month or so ago, I had to drop my husband off at an appointment. And so it's so funny because the route that was taken I ended up missing my turn and I ended up at this gas station. Well, at the gas station, this homeless guy comes up to me and he's like, do you have cash? He had to sign up and I unfortunately don't carry cash, right? So what happened was he needed some gas. And so me in my mind thought that the man was trying to hold me up because one, he came up to me and with his hand in his pocket, right? And it looked as though he was going to jack me or rob me. And that's why we should not judge a book by its cover. That was another point that I wanted to say. A lot of times you might look at people, you look at what they drive. Oh, they drive this truck, or they look nice, or they have this, they have a Gucci purse or a Fendi purse. But you don't know how that person got it. Somebody could have gave it to me, right? Somebody could have, because we do have generous people out here. So the thing too is when we go out, I like to look together when I'm ministering for God. Just like on the Sabbath, I think that God, he deserves that. He deserves me to look nice at one point in time in my life besides every day when I'm going live, beat up, hair's a mess, not together. So in this particular time, I did look the part. I looked together because I know that we had errands that we need to run. And I wanted to make sure that whomever I meet, you know, I could really share the gospel. Well, the man comes up to me and I'm thinking, I know he probably thinks that I have money, etc., but I don't. But he needed gas. So when I walked up to him, I said, well, how much money do you need? And he wanted $5 to put into his tank. Well, what I did was, instead of doing the $5, I did 10. Yes? I said, well, how about 10? But remember, God, he just wants you to be willing. It's not about, because remember, the title is What is Church? So it's not about what you can give the person physically. It's about your heart. And in my mind, I didn't really want to help him because I'm like, you know, I got to put gas in my truck and it's cost so much money and I barely have the money to, you know, to give the man. But the Lord wants you to be willing. So what I did was I said, you know what? I don't have cash. But what I'll do is he wanted $5. I said, how about 10? But guess what happened? I went to go put gas in my tank and it wouldn't work. First, it wouldn't work. So then what I did was I said, you know what? Let me be bold. And you know, we're in a certain part of town, which someone would feel pretty, you know, I don't know. You would just be like, I'm not really trying to, you know, help, right? But you really do want to, because that's the right thing to do. Because when you love the Lord, that's what you're going to do. So the guy, I told, and then I'm a firm believer that if I'm eating, you're going to eat. And also, when you say that you love the Lord and you're a Christian, you don't need to reveal that you're a Christian. Your works should show that you're a Christian. And another point that I wanted to say was, even though, I might look together or I might drive a certain vehicle, it doesn't mean that I don't have issues and that I don't struggle. So I wanted to say that too. So, and I said that because I'm setting you up for what the guy and I had a conversation about. So I said, if I'm eating, I expect you to eat too, right? So I went to the man's gas tank and I said, I'm going to give you some gas. So I put my card inside. And then you would also think, well, man, that's kind of dangerous because, what happens if they set the gas tank up so that they might try to, I don't know. You just have so many different thought processes. But when you go with God, you don't have fear. For God has not given you the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. So guess what? I told you that when I put the card inside my tank, it didn't work. Well, would you know that once I put the card in his tank, it worked? And I remember I told you I was planning on giving him $10. Well, instead, the Holy Spirit took over the handle and filled the man's tank up. And let me tell you, the man came to me and said, when he asked for gas, he said, "Are you a Christian?" And I said, "I am." He said, "I know." He said, "Because before you, I asked 20 people for some gas and not one person would stop and hear me or help me." And you know what? I had vowed, it's funny that he said that because the month before I had vowed that, I'd asked somebody just to see what people's hearts were. People's hearts are feeling them for fear and they're scared and mean and evil. Well, I'd asked somebody if I could have some money so that I could put in my tank just to see if they would be willing to help. And the people brushed me off too. And it was in the same location or area. So they told me no. And I just thought, wow. So I vowed in my heart that if anybody ever asked me for any money or for help, then I would help them, because I knew how I felt when the time that thing had happened to me. Well, don't you know, what happened was, so the guy had asked me, to help, and I helped, and I told him, I said, you know what, you don't need to say anything else, because the exact same thing that you did, I did the same thing the last month. And people brushed me off. So I knew that the man was being kind. I knew that he wasn't just saying it just so that he could, get money or what have you. But the goal was, what's in your heart? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? And the topic was, what is church, right? So we're not doing this just to be braggadocious. We're doing it because if you're called to do something or help, we're not called to make money, big bucks, just to keep it to ourselves. We're called to help each other out. We're not called to just play church or go to church just to go to church because it looks good. We're called to go to church so that we can bless each other and bless other people. And we're called to go out in the streets, pray for people, help people out, help the man. And then as a result of me helping the man at the gas tank, he started telling me, well, he said, thank you so much. And he said, I'm a recovering addict. I said, I am too. Why? Because just because I look put together or, drive a certain vehicle, that doesn't mean anything, right? All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So what is church? What is church to you? And listen, the next time you come across somebody, listen, hear him out, because the man needed somebody to minister to him. It wasn't about really gas. It was the bigger picture was, are you willing to help him? Or are you going to be that person to brush him off like everyone else? So listen, I want to give you a food for thought to always look out for people. You never know. You could be ministering to an angel unawares. Unbeknownst to you, it could be someone that could be an angel, and God wants to see where your heart is. So the next time, you think of church, think of you being the church. Think of you blessing someone outside of the four walls, right? Think of you giving somebody a word of encouragement or uplifting someone. All right, well, listen, thank you for tuning in to The T. Logan. We hope that you've learned about what is church. And make sure that the next time that you come to someone and when somebody asks you for help, make sure you help them. And remember, when you're called, you don't have to say that you're called. The calling will reveal who you are. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and talk to you later.